It's lab. Ma'am Ashwini?
Yeah, shall I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A very good morning to one and all present here. Good morning, Sister Principal, Dr. Sister Lizanne, the speaker for the day, Ms. Sheryl Afonso, NSS in charge, Ms. Sumati Sadardekar, and all my faculty colleagues of the NSS Association, NSS volunteers. A very good morning to all of you. Poshan Abhiyan is an initiative under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India, commemorating 75 years of Indian independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The NSS unit of Carmel College of Arts, Science and Commerce for Women, Nuve Goa, proudly presents a talk on nutritional anemias, microgreens for health by Ms. Sheryl Afonso. You kindly take a prayerful posture as I lead you into prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance as we begin this vital session. Help us engage in meaningful discussion and respectful learning. We praise and thank you. Mary, Queen Beauty of Carmel, pray for us. We make this prayer to Christ our Lord. Amen. May I request our principal, Dr. Sister Lizanne, to kindly address the gathering.
Am I audible?
Yes, sister.
Yes, sister.
Good morning to one and all on this bright Sunday morning, a day actually looked forward to rest and relax. A warm welcome also to this interesting and important webinar on nutritional anemias and microgreens for health. To say a few words on the topic, microgreens is one term that has taken the world by storm. They have grown to become an essential in gardens, big or small, because of their nutritional value. They are nothing but tender shoots of a vegetable plant or edible herb, which are consumed at the cotyledon stage once the first true leaves appear. They have a great source of nutrients. Some of these are sunflower microgreens, radish microgreens, cabbage microgreens, etc. They are packed with nutrients that include vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and minerals and fibers. What are their benefits? They boost immune system, improve bone health, prevent anemia, the topic of the day, reduce hypertension, aid slow aging process, and so on. Miss Sheryl Afonso, our resource person for this webinar, needs no introduction to Carmel College, though formal introduction will follow. She is a vibrant and lively faculty of the PG program, Food Technology, a state and nationally renowned nutritionist whose articles appear almost every week on our dailies local dailies on nutrition and balanced diet. Sheryl, a very warm welcome to you as the resource person for the day. Looking forward to listen to you. Once again, wishing all of you an educative and enriching time. God bless.
Thank you, sister. Like sister mentioned, Ms. Sheryl does not really need an introduction, but I'd still like to request Ma'am Sumati Satardekar to kindly introduce the speaker.
Okay, can I be seen and am I audible?
Yes, you're
Yes.
audible and visible.
Okay, thank you. Welcome one and all. Today's webinar is organized as part of the activities outlined for the Poshan Pakwada 2022 by the Government of India, Ministry of Women and Child Development. The activity is aimed at prevention and management of anemia and promotion of traditional food for healthy mother and child under the Poshan Abhiyan of the Government of India. This webinar also addresses the problem of anemia that was widely found among the volunteers for the blood donation camp that was organized on campus in December 2021. Our resource person has been introduced by sister as well as Ashwini, but I still want to reiterate that a fact that you already know, she is an expert in the field of nutrition, and I am definitely confident that our students will benefit. I wish more people join quickly. Probably there were some issues in joining. Ms. Sheryl Afonso E. D'Souza obtained her master's degree in food, nutrition, and dietetics from the University of Mumbai in 2000, following which she found immediate appointment as the assistant professor in the subject at the Goa Medical College of Home Science. Sheryl is presently course coordinator at the postgraduate degree department of food technology at Carmel College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Nuwe, Goa. And one of the subjects she loves teaching at the college has been clinical nutrition and dietetics. In the teaching profession for 2 decades, Ms. Afonso relishes the sense of fulfillment that accompanies interacting with young minds and credits the career choice for keeping her constantly updated with the latest in all concerning food, nutrition, and health. Co-owner of Nobert's Fitness Studio, a well-known chain of gyms in Goa, Sheryl is responsible for the creatives of the gym while also designing the diet plans that help one stay healthy for life. A healthy outside starts from the inside is Sheryl's motto that ensures she gets her daily dose of mental and physical activity by way of reading and exercising, along with a prescription amount of soul-satisfying food. I now invite Ms. Afonso to deliver her session.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Sumati, Ashwini, and Dr. Sister Maria Lizanne for your very thoughtful introduction. I should thank the NSS department of the college for actually bringing together this talk because, like Ms. Sumati rightly said, it was quite a startle to us when we realized that quite a few of our undergraduate students were anemic, and that's why, although they were so enthusiastic to donate blood, were not able to do so for the simple reason that their hemoglobin levels did not reach that magic figure of 12 grams per deciliter. And it is sad considering that these are youngsters in the age group of 18 to 20 and, you know, at a very compromised state of nutritional status. Thank you everyone for joining in this session on a Sunday morning when I'm sure we could have been doing so many other things like relaxing. But this is information which we can use for ourselves, for life, as well as disseminate it among others who are in our, in our close circle of friends. So without any further ado, let me begin the presentation. Is my slide, is the slideshow visible to everybody? Let me just...
Yes.
Yes, Sheryl.
Okay, fine. So as we go through this session, I would encourage each one of you all to put down your questions, comments, thoughts, anything that comes to mind on the chat box, and we will address them at the end of the session. So let's begin by talking about nutritional anemias. And many of you will wonder why this emphasis on the term nutritional anemia. We often refer to it as anemias, but through the course of the presentation, you will understand why I have emphasized it as a nutritional anemia. Now, like we all know, that anemia is a condition related to the blood in the human body. Yeah, and if you look at the picture on the left, you will see that's what your normal blood looks like, with a lot of RBCs, red blood cells out there. The picture on the right shows you what anemic blood looks like, and a simple understanding of it is the decrease in the number of RBCs. So you will see fewer red blood cells. You also have a mention of hemoglobin out here, and this is what we generally test to find out whether an individual is anemic or not. Why hemoglobin? We will discuss that in a bit. Now, why did I emphasize nutritional anemias? Is because we have so many different types of anemias, some of which are classified as hereditary anemias. And unfortunately, we as nutritionists have no control over those kind of anemias, which also result in a fewer number of RBCs. So at the end of the day, anemia is a condition where the number of your RBCs are low. And this can happen because of various reasons, one of which is nutrition, the other being hereditary. So if you look at hemolytic anemias, sickle cell anemias, and anemias of chronic diseases, sometimes these are all related. These are beyond the control of nutrition. And these are what we refer to as hereditary anemias. I'm sure in school we've all learned about sickle cell anemia and how this is what a sickle cell RBC looks like, red blood cell. Okay. Whereas the iron deficiency and the vitamin deficiency anemias, these are what we refer to as nutritional anemias. Now, I'm sure it may come as a surprise to many of you that there is something called a vitamin deficiency anemia, because we're so used to talking about iron in relation to anemia. Okay, so this is some of the types of anemia. So this is what a sickle cell anemia is. The shape of your RBC is what we would call spherical or oval in shape or round in shape. But when your RBC takes on a sickle shape, yeah, that's when it starts causing problems in the human body. We have hemolytic anemias where RBCs break down for certain reasons. We have microcytic anemias. Micro refers to small. So the size of your RBC is small for some reason. You have macrocytic anemias where the size of your RBCs become big. And you have hypochromic anemia. Hypo refers to less. Chroma refers to color. So where the color, we all know that the RBCs are red in color. So when they lack color, when they're pale in color, these are referred to as hypochromic anemias. So when we're looking at iron deficiency anemia and many of our nutritional anemias, they're generally this type of hypochromic anemias and microcytic anemias. Microcytic anemias, I will explain to you in a while. We've also heard of thalassemia. This is now a hereditary anemia beyond our control again. So nutrition cannot really help in sickle cell anemia or thalassemia. What's the WHO, the World Health Organization, definition of a nutritional anemia? It's a condition where your hemoglobin level is lower than normal. And we have hemoglobin levels considered as normal depending upon gender and depending upon age. For females, we expect everybody, adult females, to have a hemoglobin level of at least 12 grams per deciliter. Anything up to 15 is considered absolutely normal. When you go a little higher, that also brings in certain risks, which we may not discuss today. And for male gender, we would look at 13 or 14 grams per deciliter as a normal hemoglobin level. So the World Health Organization tells us that when our hemoglobin levels are below this normal level for gender, and this happens because you're deficient in one or more nutrients, either a vitamin or a mineral, regardless of what is the cause of it. So iron deficiency is the most frequent cause, but we also have vitamin deficiency anemias, which are folate and vitamin B12 deficiency anemias. For every adult female who is married and probably gone through a pregnancy, we would have appreciated the role of folate in fetal health. And folic acid tablets is something that is prescribed to pregnant ladies at the beginning of their pregnancy for the first 3 months. Okay, so that but nobody ever tells us why folate. Dual reasons for folate. One is for the neural development of the child. The second is to ensure that your RBC counts are also good. Now, we in that very first slide of mine, you saw that we had anemia defined as when the number of RBCs were low, and there was a mention made of hemoglobin. Now, many of you all are on YouTube, so I cannot have a direct verbal conversation with you all. But everybody who is on the Google Meet, what is hemoglobin? Any idea about, do you all remember from school, from college, what you learned about what is hemoglobin? No? Forgotten? Basic science? Okay, no problem.
Iron,
Yes. Yes, Ashwini.
iron content. I thought iron content in the blood, the platelets.
Okay, platelets, iron content. Anybody else?
RBC count less, red blood cells is
Okay,
what
your
we understand.
yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
RBC count less. Okay, anybody else? Hi. Okay, let me just clarify out here. We're talking about two concepts. Okay, we're talking about where your RBCs, the number of your RBCs are less, that can result in an anemia. Why would the number of my RBCs be less? The number of my RBCs would be less because my body is not producing enough of RBCs. Where are RBCs produced? RBCs are produced in my spleen and in my bone marrow. So if my nutritional status is compromised, if I don't have enough of vitamins and minerals in my body, my spleen and my bone marrow will not produce enough number of RBCs. Okay, that's one concept. That's what you saw in the first slide. If I have a destructive disease like sickle cell anemia, the number of my RBCs will automatically go down because it's an autoimmune disease. So your own body is destroying the RBCs. So the number of your RBCs go down. Okay, that's one concept. The second thing that we are understanding when we speak about anemias is the hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin, if you look at out here, this is my RBC. That's my red blood cell. What is present inside my red blood cell is this thing called hemoglobin. Okay? So I can have 10 RBCs or I can have 100 RBCs. Each of them will contain hemoglobin. Yeah, so I have RBCs circulating in my bloodstream, in my blood vessel here. Each of these RBCs, healthy RBCs, will contain hemoglobin. Now, what is hemoglobin? There are two parts to this hemoglobin. Ashwini spoke about iron. Globin is a protein. So you see the beta chains here and alpha chains here. These are protein chains that are there. Okay, so hemoglobin is made up of a protein part, and the heme is my iron part. So if you can look at the heme group here, yes, it's made up of iron. So this combination of hemoglobin, that is iron and protein, is present inside of my RBC. Okay, simple. So now
Yes.
you will appreciate why iron is important. So in order for hemoglobin to be formed, I require iron. If there is no iron, it will be an incomplete hemoglobin molecule being produced inside of my RBC. So this is one reason why anemia will result. So I can have 100 RBC cells, but each of them are deficient in the amount of RBC that is totally present in my blood. Yep. Okay. So why is this hemoglobin important? Like we've again studied in school, this hemoglobin is important because hemoglobin can bind with oxygen. We're all breathing in oxygen through our nose. It's going to our, we're breathing in air through our nose, and this air is going to your lungs for purification, and oxygen is being generated or sequestered out. This oxygen molecule that is there from our lungs, it attaches itself to a hemoglobin molecule in your red blood cell. So I have red blood cells containing hemoglobin. When I breathe oxygen, the oxygen attaches itself to my hemoglobin molecule. Oxygen cannot attach itself to anything else in your blood except hemoglobin. So it binds to hemoglobin, and in this manner, oxygen is carried across my body and then is released to every cell in my body. Now, why is this oxygen required? Oxygen is required to help your cell breathe. If the cell is not breathing, the cell is dead. Okay? And that's why hemoglobin is so very important for this transportation, the simple act of transporting oxygen. So I can be breathing normally, but if I don't have enough of hemoglobin, oxygen will not be attached to hemoglobin. Oxygen will not be transported to every tissue and cell in my body. What will then happen if there is no oxygen supply to every cell in my body? The typical symptoms of anemia: fatigue. Why do I feel tired? Why do I feel sleepy? We never question ourselves why. We just say we're tired, we're sleepy. We put it down to, I've had a late night, I've done too much of work, I watch too much TV, homework is too much, that's why I'm feeling tired and sleepy. Or it's hot outside, that's why I'm feeling tired and sleepy. Not realizing that fatigue, weakness, shortness of breath is simply because oxygen is not being supplied to every cell in my body. What makes me feel sleepy? My brain tells me that I am ready to sleep. So if your brain is not receiving enough of oxygen because your hemoglobin levels are low and therefore oxygen cannot be supplied to the brain, the first symptom is fatigue, lethargy, tiredness. If I tell you to run 100 meters and you start, panting or gasping for air within the first 20 meters, that's shortness of breath. That's because oxygen cannot enter the blood because there is not enough of hemoglobin to bind that oxygen and carry it across your body so that you can run the entire distance of 100 meters. Okay. Why do I have cold hands and feet in anemia? Again, oxygen supply is not there to the extremities of your body because hemoglobin levels are low. Why do I have pale skin? This is hypochromic anemia. Yeah. Remember I said something about hypochromic, the color is less. So heme is red in color. Yeah. So if there is not enough of iron, the color of your RBC is pale in color, and therefore the entire body looks pale. Yeah. So these are simple signs and symptoms that you would look out for when you're trying to determine whether the person is anemic or not. Yeah. Now we go on to what we've come here to study about or learn a little bit about is nutrition. And what does nutrition do as far as anemia is concerned? Okay. We've all remembered this term erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis is nothing else but RBC formation. So we all think that the only thing required for formation of RBCs is iron. And sadly, we're mistaken. You require amino acids. I told you hemoglobin. Globin is protein. So obviously, what helps to form that protein is the amino acid, which is the building blocks of protein or the smaller units of protein. So it goes without saying that in order to have healthy hemoglobin, I also require a good protein intake. So amino acids are very, very important in case you want to overcome this condition of anemia related to hemoglobin deficiencies. Okay. The second thing, iron, because heme is iron. So in order to form that heme, I require iron. I also require B12 and folic acid, 2 vitamins. Folic acid is a type of a vitamin B. Why do I require this? It's because for the synthesis of a nucleoprotein. The nucleoprotein is nothing else but your RBC. It has one portion of it, which is your nucleoprotein. And in addition to that, for the entire cell to be formed, you require minerals like copper, zinc, and cobalt in addition to your hormones. Yeah. So when I am to emphasize nutrition for overcoming anemia, it's not only iron, but it's also about vitamins. It's about minerals, copper, zinc, cobalt, and it's about your proper protein intake. Yeah. So this is your bone marrow where RBCs are formed, and this entire process is referred to as erythropoiesis. So there are stages, okay? Just like you have stages of fetal growth, you have a single cell, then multiplying, and then becoming a fetus, and then becoming, your infant and toddler, and you keep growing because the number of your cells is growing, and the maturity level of your cells is increasing. So similarly, you have your RBCs have stages of growth. And at each stage of growth, you have different nutrients that are important. So if I don't have a good iron status, a good vitamin B12, a good folic acid, or a good erythropoietin status, then obviously this entire process of erythropoiesis is defeated. You will not have mature RBCs forming. Yeah, I told you you have something called immature RBCs that can be formed. Okay, microcytic RBCs. The size of your RBCs are small. They are microcytes. Why are they small? Because they've not received enough of nutrition to grow to a normal size. So it's not only about iron, but it's about the entire development of your RBC that is affected, leading to anemia. What are other reasons why I will have immature RBCs or erythrocytes that are not enough in number, or RBCs that are not enough in number? When I'm losing extra amounts of blood, this can happen during surgery, during accidents, and of course, normal physiology where you have your menstrual cycle in girls where you're losing blood every month. That's why more important to improve or increase your intake of nutrients that support the growth of RBCs. Hemolysis or breakdown of RBCs happening at an increased rate, and hyperspleen. I told you that the spleen and your bone marrow is where RBCs are produced. So if you have defects in the spleen or in the bone marrow, then you can have a condition where erythropoiesis does not happen and you have low hemoglobin levels. Okay. So this is anemia where my RBC concentration is low, number of RBCs are low. Number of RBCs are low means less oxygen is able to bind with my RBC. So tissue oxygenation is decreased. How does the body deal with it? The body tries to deal with it. Erythropoietin is a hormone that is produced by your kidney in response to this low status of hemoglobin or a condition of anemia. It starts to stimulate this is the principle of food combinations that we talk about. Whenever you're eating anything that contains non-heme iron, follow it up with a source of vitamin C at all times. Yeah. So these are my non-heme iron sources. Spinach, the richest source of non-heme iron. Along with that, a lot of seeds and nuts. Chickpeas among the pulses have a very good content. Sorry, chickpeas has a very good content of iron also. Tahini, which is very typical Mediterranean, has iron because of the fact that it is made from chickpeas. Yeah. So that's about iron. Remember, there are other nutrients that you also have to focus on. folate being one of them. Folate is present in your dark green leafy vegetables. In Goa, we get a lot of broccoli is available, Brussels sprouts also available. So these are two choices. They may be a little expensive. So what we can choose from in the Indian or in the Goan diet would be something like cabbage or palak, spinach, and methi leaves. These are also good sources of folate. In addition to that, of course, you have certain fruits that contain folate, papayas and bananas and mangoes. It's going to be mango season very soon. So you can have your fill of folate by choosing mangoes. And in addition to folate, you have vitamin B12 that is important. So vitamin B12 is mainly present in your non-vegetarian food items. So vegetarians or vegans are often at risk of developing a vitamin B12 deficiency. But there is good news for them. Talking about vitamin B12, we have a type of anemia which is called pernicious anemia. Now, to understand pernicious anemia, although we have sources of vitamin B12 from our diet, we have sources of vitamin B12 from the diet. Remember, your own body is capable of producing vitamin B12. All of us have a stomach which can produce this thing called intrinsic factor. Okay, if we have a healthy gut, what's the meaning of a healthy gut? If the microbiota in our gut is conducive to healthy living, it is very easy for us to produce intrinsic factor. The moment we have good levels of this intrinsic factor, your stomach can easily absorb vitamin B12 from the foods that you consume. Okay, and that's why we say that we don't really require supplements of vitamin B12. We just need to take care of the gut microbiome, and this can be done by including a lot of probiotic foods like buttermilk, curds, lassi in your daily diet. Daily means every single day. Have a bowl of curds or have a glass of buttermilk. You will ensure that your stomach is capable of producing intrinsic factor. This will allow gut microbiome to easily synthesize vitamin B12, and you don't have to bother about pernicious anemia at all. Yeah, especially for those who are vegans or vegetarians who don't even consume dairy products. Yeah. The other minerals that you have to keep in mind: copper, zinc, and cobalt. Now there is an overlap between the foods that would produce or help us get our daily supply of these minerals. Mushrooms, quinoa, which is the wonder grain today, and everybody's raving and ranting about it. Simple nuts and seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, good source of copper as well as zinc, and to some extent cobalt also. So making sure that you have this there in your diet as often as possible is something that you all need to do as teenagers and young adults. Yeah. So to put this into simpler understanding for you all, what should you be doing as students or as adults who are faced with the prospect of anemias, nutritional anemias? Make sure that at all your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, there is a source of protein, there is a dietary source of iron, and there is a dietary source of vitamin B foods. And I've just discussed which are these foods with you. If you are a vegetarian, make sure that you end your meal with something that has ascorbic acid or vitamin C in it. If you're a vegetarian and are having maybe palak or a bowl of salad, you can squeeze lime over it and ensure that your iron intake is optimal. Like I said, at least once a day, curds, buttermilk, or lassi as a probiotic. Nuts and seeds as your snacks instead of the colas and the chips and the biscuits that you are so often used to having. And how much should you be having? In a day, anything between 20 to 30 grams is an optimal amount to have. When you're making your smoothies, your milkshakes, your breakfast cereals, make it a little more nutritious by adding raisins and almonds. Raisins are a good source of iron, and so are almonds, along with almonds being good in zinc and copper. How many times a week? There is a reason why your parents used to insist that you have leafy vegetables. That's because of their iron as well as folic acid value. So make sure that you're having this at least 4 times a week. And sprouts, okay, which is going to lead me to my next session right now, to the next topic right now. This should find a place in your diet at least 3 times a week. Okay, so sprouts, like Sister Lizanne gave you an introduction, there's an overlap between sprouts and microgreens, but let's bring into focus what microgreens are and see what how we can make them at home. Okay, so what are these microgreens? Microgreens are they are smaller shoots or leaves of seeds that have been allowed to germinate for a period of about 14 to 15 days. They are they have a really high nutritional value. Imagine, you know, having a small little garden at home that allows the growth of these microgreens just within a fortnight, and them adding so much more nutritional value to your daily diet. Okay, what is the difference between a sprout and a microgreen? Sprouts that we make, they would take about 1 to 7 days to sprout, maximum of 7 days. Whereas microgreens, we keep them up to about 15 days. We allow the leaves, the small little leaves to come up, and then we start using them. Okay. If you allow them to grow a little further, they then grow on to being baby greens. And then in 100 days, 50 to 100 days, they are mature greens. And then they start producing flowers. Okay, so we're not really concerned with these later stages. We stop them at the stage of microgreens and start using them for health. They are large amounts of nutrients in them. And these are comparative studies that have been shown of how, you know, simple nutrients like vitamin E, vitamin C, beta-carotene, which is vitamin A, can have can be present in triple the amount by this simple method of growing microgreens. Okay, so like I told you, 7 to 14 days for microgreens, 3 to 5 days for sprouts. In microgreens, you are using the leaves. In sprouts, you are only using the sprout. Okay, you're not using the leaf. You're not allowing it to reach a stage of leaf formation. In a microgreen, you do not eat the root. You eat the leaves because this is where the nutrition is concentrated. Whereas in a sprout, you're eating the entire sprout. Sprouts do not require light, in the sense the seed does not require light for sprouting, but in microgreens, you have to make sure that you expose these seeds to light. Okay? So what do you need and how can you do it at home? Simple. There are a couple of videos which, if I can get them showing, I will show them to you. Otherwise, I'm sure the tech team will somehow get it across to you later. You require a ceramic or a glass container with a lid. You require a good growing mat. You require sprouting seeds freely available. Of course, you require water. And like I said, you require sunlight. So you need the window, okay, to be somewhere close to you. So how do you do it? Simple. You take your seeds, soak them for a maximum of 8 hours, or according to what the package tells you. Place them on a growing mat. Spread them out evenly so that they don't form a thick layer, but they are evenly spread out. Keep them near the window with the lid on, and then remove the lid and allow them to continue growing, making sure that you water them daily. Okay, so here's how it goes. Soaking your seeds for a couple of hours. After you have soaked them, make sure that you drain the seeds. You don't want too much residual water on them. Then your growing mat, which is either jute or coir or coconut, okay, you place that soaked down in your container of choice. You spread the seeds out very evenly, okay. These are basic measurements that you can keep in mind. 2 tablespoons for an area of 5 to 7 inches. Cover it, place it near the window. What do you then see happening? This is what they look like on day 2. Okay, you'll see small sprouts. The white things out here are your sprouts. By day 5, you'll notice that the sprout length becomes higher and there are more sprouts being formed. Then at this stage is when you will get the lid off, when most of the seeds look sprouted. Okay, you allow them to continue sprouting till you see the leaves forming. And when will you stop and start using these leaves in all your dishes? Is when these leaves are about 1 inch in height over the height of your deep dish. What will you then do?
whatever you require is what you will cut and use, and you'll allow the rest of it to grow. So that's really economical. So from one single seed, you can actually have, microgreens growing for as long as 2 months and 3 months also, but you have to take proper care with them. Now, I think Mithil, you'll have to help me out here. I hope this hyperlink works.
I think you need the icon for that to work.
Pardon?
You could just select the whole link, right click and go to.
And then say it just now. Okay. Are there any questions? In the meantime, I can address them while the video plays.
Mithil? Yeah, let me check.
About the microgreens, that it can be reused for around 2 months. How exactly do you maintain them?
The same way. You just take care in the very same way, making sure that you water them. So after you've cut off the leaves that you have used, right?
Yeah. After that,
Then you maintain them in the same way, making sure that they are hydrated and they're near the window and the sunlight is there at all times.
Yeah. Which means you don't cover them. Sorry.
No, you will cover them for the first 2-3 days. Again, you will cover them.
Again, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How to consume it, Sheryl?
You can use them in salads. You can cook them. They are all. See, remember, leaves are always eaten best raw. Yeah, because that's when you'll get the maximum amount of nutrition. Even with our palak, right? Of course, palak requires a little bit of cooking because they have anti-nutritional factors in them. But microgreens, you can eat them raw. So you can make a salad out of them. That's the easiest way. You can make cutlets out of them. So you're mixing them with, other stuff. Yeah, you can cook them like a regular sabzi, Indian style cooking.
Sheryl, if you don't mind, which means
Yes.
you're repeating the whole cycle. Like after you have cut it, you again cover it and keep after hydrating, and again you cover it for 5 days.
No, not for 5 days. They've already sprouted, right? The covering was to allow them to sprout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you cut off the leaves on top, so the sprouts are still there, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So you will cover it for a shorter period of time, maybe 1 or 2 days, till you see a slight growth happening, and then aerate them.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you.
For some reason, it's not allowing me to stop the previous presentation. Okay, got it.
I've grown them in the rains, but then snails and all eat them. So I think it's better to keep them indoors.
Microgreens are best indoors. That's why they're like, small little kitchen gardens.
Yeah.
Can be done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is the screen of the lady explaining about microgreens visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is there a volume that you all can hear?
No.
Hello, ma'am.
Now, yes.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
No, it's gone.
Hello, ma'am.
No, it's not audible to me. Yes, Mithil?
Hello.
Cheryl, put off your mic, no? When you're, are you playing it on the same account?
No, I think it's playing on the laptop and it must be not audible on that one.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, you could share the link otherwise.
I'll share. Yeah, I'll share the
Yes, ma'am.
presentation with you later, and then maybe you can share it with the audience. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Should I just put the link in the chat box for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll do
Mithil can
that.
copy it for the
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Mithil, have students posted any questions on YouTube?
Nothing yet, ma'am.
Okay.
This is to the students. What we are doing is we'll share the Gmeet link with you. Okay, so if you have any questions, okay, so there'll be a question answer session after this soon in a while. Okay, so what you can do is you can join the Gmeet link and you can ask your questions there, right? Or also you could post it in the YouTube chat.
Cheryl, you're done
Yes.
with your presentation?
Yes, I'm done.
Yeah. Mithil, they could join now. She's done with the presentation. She's open for questions.
Okay, ma'am. There are students joined here. Anybody has questions? You could start. You could
faculty
turn on
also.
your
Faculty,
even
please
faculty.
post your questions. Students
Yes.
who have just joined in, and students on YouTube, please let us know if you wish to join the Google Meet. You can post your questions anywhere. We will send it to the
Yes.
speaker. She will answer your question.
You could turn on your mics also. Anyhow, however you're comfortable. Ma'am, students are asking symptoms of anemia.
Okay, Mithil, I've just shared with you the 2 YouTube links, so you can share them with the group possibly
ma'am.
later. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, the symptoms of anemia, like I said, the most common symptom of anemia is you feeling tired at all points of time. Okay, and I've explained to you why you tend to feel tired. That's simply because oxygen is not reaching any and every part of your body. So that's the first thing that you will have to look out for. The second thing is the color of your skin, which is supposed to be a little pinkish, reddish in color, suddenly turns very pale. And the best way of determining whether you are anemic is to pull down your eyelids, because that's where there is a concentration of blood, your blood vessels in the eye. So the sclera of your eye will look more pale or white as compared to a light pink or a dark red. Yeah, so that's the most visible signs. You'll also notice that your nails become very brittle, they break very easily. And when there is extreme anemia, then there is something called koilonychia which is present, where you have spoon shaped nails. But I don't expect you all to be at that stage of anemia where you have all these extreme symptoms. So basic would be you feeling tired, lethargic at all times. Hair fall is another symptom of anemia, but these are always generalized symptoms. So look back, and I think the paleness of your skin is one of the distinguishing factors.
Cheryl, what are spoon-shaped nails? I've seen, nail beds looking paler, but what are spoon-shaped nails?
See, if you look at your nail, they are at one level, right? Yeah, and a spoon starts and it curves downwards. So a spoon-shaped nail will look like that. So there's a dip.
Okay. Thank you.
What are the symptoms when the person's brain is affected with anemia? It's not only the brain being affected with anemia, it is the entire body. So why did I speak about the brain? Please remember, is because oxygen is not reaching your brain. Hemoglobin levels are low, oxygen not reaching brain. So you are feeling tired and lethargic because the brain cells are refusing to function. That's why you can't stay awake. Yeah, or you can't concentrate, or you feel sleepy, or you feel tired. Yeah. What if we have symptoms of anemia? Should we go for testing? Definitely. Simple hemoglobin test is all that you need to do. If you are a student and you were there for the blood donation camp, you saw it was just a finger prick and they determined whether you were anemic or not. So that's all you need. You don't have to be scared about, taking out blood with a syringe and then testing for anemia. So a simple hemoglobin test will let you know whether you're anemic. When we prepare microgreens or sprouts, how many days we can prepare and consume them? So when you prepare microgreens or sprouts, like I said, a maximum of 15 days is the growing period. So when you see the leaves, sprouts is different, remember, and microgreens is different. So sprouts, you'll take the seed, you'll take moong, you'll take matki, or any other seed, okay, even methi, even chia, you'll take the seed, you'll soak it in water overnight, yes, and then you'll keep it moist for a period of 4 days maximum, and you'll see small shoots coming out. That is a sprout. Yeah. The microgreen procedure is a little different. Both those videos show you microgreens. One will be microgreens without soil and the other is microgreen with soil. So in microgreens, you allow them to grow for 15 days till you see the leaves come out. Okay. And when the leaves have come out, then you start using the leaves. So in a microgreen, that's why it's called a green, right? So you're using the tender leaves. Would you recommend a supplement intake of mineral and vitamins vis-a-vis food intake? Definitely not. I think that's why I'm here today to tell you all that please no more vitamin B supplements and vitamin C supplements and iron supplements. Go natural, and that's why I think your teacher also suggested microgreens because that is natural and the best way to get your nutrition. Yeah. So nothing chemical, nothing artificial, please natural. Life-threatening effects of chronic anemia, definitely. You see that the heart can be affected when your oxygen supplies are low. The lungs, goes without saying, can be affected. The brain can be affected. So there can be life-threatening effects for sure when you have very, very low. I know, of course, of people who have had hemoglobin levels as low as 8 and 9 and have gone about life, but it's a compromised quality of life, which I don't think we should be happy about. Vitamin C intake along with iron. We don't always have a source of iron at home. Iron supplements be taken. Iron supplements only in extreme circumstances if your hemoglobin levels are lower than it is supposed to be. Otherwise, at all points of time, please try to include something that is iron rich. It's so easily available. I mean, now the monsoons will be coming up and we have so many traditional Goan leafy vegetables around us, right? So we need to catch in on that and make sure that those are our sources of iron. If hemoglobin is normal, but these symptoms are visible, then what is it a sign of? Then you'll have to have a more comprehensive blood test to find out what else is leading to fatigue or tiredness. Hypothyroid conditions, iodine deficiencies, these are other reasons for which you'll have symptoms of fatigue and tiredness. Okay. Coldness of palm and feet are symptoms of anemia, but is it always a case of anemia? No. So like I said, even if you have a condition of hypothyroid, yeah, cold extremities is one of the symptoms. Yeah. So in order to rule out and to come to a conclusion that it is anemia, you would have to do a hemoglobin test and all the other values like your MCV and all of that, corpuscular hemoglobin to find out whether it is anemia. Are dark circle symptoms of anemia? No, contrary to popular belief, dark circles are not a sign of anemia. Okay, remember that the skin below your eye is very fragile, is very thin. So why do you have dark circles? Is because it is related to you not getting enough of sleep, maybe improper habits of too much of strain on the eyes because of computer use, laptop use, watching television, screen time basically increasing. So this skin below the eyes tends to get a little more thinner, and the blood vessels below them are not supplying enough of blood. So you may be with a normal hemoglobin level, but because of inactivity, blood supply is not proper, and that could result in a thinner skin or a darker skin under your eyes. Yeah.
How often do we have to get a test done to check the level of hemoglobin or to check for anemia?
Once in 3 months. Once in 3 months if you are anemic.
Okay.
Remember, the life cycle of your RBCs is 120 days. Yeah. So between 3 and 4 months is when you can expect at least increases in hemoglobin levels. And one more thing to remember is that we often take supplements, right? Like a couple of you all have asked on the chats. It's easier to take supplements instead of going the healthy way. But remember, with iron supplements, I don't know how many of you all have ever taken iron supplements. But one side effect of iron supplements is constipation. Yeah, a lot of people will face it, constipation, because of iron supplement use, and therefore it negates, taking supplements. But if you're forced to take iron supplements, my advice would always be to increase your water intake and to make sure that you're eating enough of fiber by way of raw fruits and salads, so as to overrule the constipation that accompanies iron supplementation.
Thank you, Sheryl. Yes. Any more questions? Please roll in your questions.
Many students have joined actually. Anybody would like to turn on their mics and ask?
Students have joined, Mithun?
Yes, ma'am. Here
Okay.
in the Gmeet.
Okay.
Also, there is a feedback link posted in the YouTube chat. You might have to copy paste it in your browsers. So, yeah. Is there in the YouTube chat? Participants, you may please feel that. Any other questions? Do we have questions? Anybody would like to turn on their mics and ask? Many have joined here.
Yeah, many of them have also posted in the chat box, so maybe they posted it in the
Acha.
chat box. There are no more questions on YouTube, Mithun?
No, ma'am. That's it.
No, right? Okay.
I think we are done with the questions, looks like.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sheryl, for such a brilliant session on nutritional anemias. Personally, I enjoyed it, and it's so applicable to me because I am anemic myself. So, yeah, so I can never donate blood because they always reject me. But
no.
yeah,
I think you need to reverse that, Ashwini, after today's talk, and make sure that at the next blood donation you're leading the camp.
surely I'll try to do that, and I think it will benefit a lot of our NSS volunteers, especially because we conduct a lot of blood donation camps, and many of our volunteers come forth to donate blood. So it's very beneficial for them, and you have done a brilliant job at giving us an in-depth understanding of a very scientific understanding of anemias. It's very important to understand that, and thank you for that. Thank you for your time, Sheryl. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank Dr. Sister Maria Lizanne, our principal, for allowing us to hold this session. Thank you to all the faculty and my colleagues and all the students and volunteers who have joined. I would like to now request Ms. Svena Vaz, NSS representative of our college, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the NSS unit of Carmel College of Arts, Science and Commerce for Women, I thank the Almighty for having helped us in the success of this session. I also take the opportunity to thank our principal, Dr. Sister Maria Lizanne AC, for allowing us to have this interactive webinar on nutritional anemias and microgreens for health. I would thank the faculty members of the NSS unit for organizing everything so well. Our sincere thanks to the resource person for the day, Ms. Sheryl Afonso. You have truly enlightened our minds. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be the guest speaker. We are grateful to Mr. Meriston for his technical help. Lastly, I wish to express my gratitude to all of you who actively participated in this session and made it a huge success. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, Swena, for the vote of thanks. Can we all please turn on our cameras for a group picture? Mithil, will you take a screenshot on your laptop?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. We don't have our students here. We just have the faculty. The students are on YouTube. So. Are you ready, Mithil?
Yes, ma'am. Taken actually, but
Taken a,
just 1 second.
yeah.
Screenshot.
Done, Mithil?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Ashwini.
joining. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Thank you.